Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Eve Frontier live stream. I am your host, the always magnanimous CCP Jötunn. Joining me, just real quick, there we go, is, of course, first on your far right, our product manager and the man who haunts my Instagram feed at night, CCP Overload. And also joining us, very studiously looking at his keyboard, is CCP Goodfella, who, you can see how he's locked in. He's just truly locked in right now. CCP Overload, so good to see you. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, CCP Jötunn.
Yes.
So I've been working very hard on what I like to think of as punctuality and timekeeping. It's something that I try very hard to do for. Yeah.
Yes, and
very
important.
important
Shots fired.
Oh my gosh.
Here he is.
There he is. Look at that.
No one noticed.
The man himself. Yeah. No one noticed. Never punished. Yes, of course, we are joined, like I said, by CCP Overload and also our game director, CCP Goodfella, who is abroad currently, as well as you, CCP Overload, calling in from another country right now. What's that all about?
I'm calling in from the homeland. I'm in Scotland right now. I'm visiting some family, but I've taken some time out of that. Screw the family. I want to talk to you guys about Eve Frontier. Yes, both things close to my heart, but this one is fun right now for an hour.
Yeah.
Are you in a castle then, or how does that work?
Yes.
He sent me a picture. I know this is not part of the stream, but he sent me a picture of a castle earlier. It was the smallest castle I've ever seen with my human eyes.
It's a coffee shop castle.
It was so small. Do they make them all that small there?
Well, that's just a coffee shop. So it's a castle, but the whole castle is a coffee shop, and you don't need a gigantic coffee shop. It'd be excessive.
Gotcha.
So it's just a small castle for a small coffee shop.
Well, it was
an appropriately sized castle.
Very demure castle, and I appreciate you showing it to me. Was very considerate of you. Friends,
and,
yes.
Just to call out, sorry, I do apologize. I was late. I sometimes do the calls, and I'm on my way north to where I'm from originally. So when I was young, I had to make a choice: either become a farmer or become a developer of a MMO blockchain game. I chose the latter, but I am on my way far north of Iceland to take care of my grandfather's house after the winter. So it's work season now in the weekend. As well.
What a good grandson CCP Goodfella is.
Yes.
Slaving away all day long at a hot computer and then going up to the north of Iceland to work on a farm. What a guy.
Yes.
Well, folks, listen. CCP Goodfella, I know that you are on a tight schedule, so we're going to let you talk here in just a minute. But before we do that, today's stream, let's talk about it very briefly. So what we are doing today is answering a question. And that question is, what is Eve Frontier actually? Right, we've been on here a couple times talking to you, the audience, about a couple different things. We've talked about the cycles that we're going through right now. We've talked about founder access. We've talked about the economy last week with CCP Kalira, who shout out to CCP Kalira. That's actually his chair that CCP Goodfella is sitting in right now. What a guy! What a lad! And one of the questions I see posed the most from people who are maybe not so tuned in to what we're doing or what we're trying to do here, one of the questions is, why is CCP doing this, right? You have a game, you're building, you have this other game, it's a great game, we love that game, why are you also doing this second game? And we want to answer those questions. I mean, they're good questions, they're legitimate questions. We have, I have 80 slides today. I hope and pray will convince you that what we're doing is cool and good and awesome. I think it is. Of course, they pay me to say that, so yeah, but we want to communicate with you guys. We reduced the scale of our NDA last week. We started to roll back some of those restrictions on talking about it, and we want to talk about it. I can only speak for myself. I don't know about you guys.
I can speak for you too if you want.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's good. We're excited about the projects we're working on. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming. We're still fairly early in the alpha development process part of this thing that we're doing. But there's a lot of cool stuff coming down the road. I have tons of concept art. I have tons of vision board stuff that we're going to get into here in just a minute. And it's a lot of cool things, and we want to show you guys that stuff. Want to show you that we, mean serious business, and maybe you want to, check it out a little bit. Like I said, I can't. Yeah.
I quickly here, like,
please.
The game is still in alpha, and if you play it, and people have played it, and they see it's not ready. It's a work in progress game, and we have said so ourselves multiple times, and we agree with the people that say it's not finalized. It probably won't be fine. Like EVE Online is still a work in progress. When will EVE
20
be
years of beta.
featured? Yeah, exactly. But what we want to do since the beginning of this project is just to get people playing the game, giving us feedback to improve the experience, while also showing where we're heading tangibly. This is not stuff that I have created to sell a dream. It is stuff that the dev team has created to help them make progress towards a long-term vision of the game. So it's like a show and tell from the dev team itself, and that's what CCP Jötunn you have been doing. It's just gathering work material from the troopers of Frontier.
Yeah.
And now we're showing that.
I want you guys, audience, I want you to know I had to bend some arms to get some of this stuff. I mean, some of this stuff is hot off the presses, as in like it was revealed to the team all of maybe 2 hours ago. So this is hot button stuff. I mean, we are on the cutting edge of development. We're on the cutting edge of trying to get people who are in our community involved in that development process. We're in founder access. The founders are, and I'm going to mention this here in a little bit, as close as possible to our dev team as they can be, short of us actually just flying them out here. So we want to be communicative. We want to be honest. We want to be open about this. And this is what we're going to do. So that's what this stream is. We're going to talk about what is Frontier actually, what are we trying to do, what are we trying to accomplish here. But to respect CCP Goodfella's time, we did announce we have a couple of new founder packs that are going on sale next week. These are premium, what do you call it? Cosmetic packs. They're some cool cosmetics. They're going to be founder access exclusive. They will, I believe, be tradable icons. CCP Goodfella, if you want to talk a little bit more about what these things are.
Yeah. So next week, after we've delivered the card reported that people should receive after buying founder access that started in December. We can deliver that first, and then we're going to have available packs for people who want to buy them to support us and get cool stuff in game as it is ready for us to deliver it as well. So these are cosmetic packs. It is entirely optional. They will be resellable in the future. That's the beauty of everything we want to do. We want the people to own what they do and be able to do whatever they want with it. It's also exclusive to founders. So what we're offering now will not be available in the future. You can quote me on that. And also we will be launching with a discount for founders as well. So time-based. And selling packs is interesting concept because people have opinions on it, and we've read it all, and I understand it myself. I'm a hardcore gamer myself. I'm willing to bet I spend more times playing games than most people because I'm very passionate about it. And as such, I'm a gamer. I have opinions on what I want to buy as well. What we're trying to do here is just offer people who want to support us more and spend more on cool stuff that we are developing, which is what we've heard from the community, while also being mindful of what people enjoy buying. So when it goes live next week, we want people to give us feedback on it because we are in this experimentation of what the community enjoys, because that's what we need to do also in the future. So open dialogue. I promise most of the entire team has read through all the comments, the different parts of it. We are just trying to deliver cool stuff that people enjoy. And if they want to buy it, that's awesome. If they don't, we'd love to learn why.
Sure. I agree with almost all of that, except for the part where he says he's a hardcore gamer. I've heard CCP Calera talk about his experience watching CCP Goodfella play, what is it, CS?
CS,
yeah. Not a great report, if I'm being honest. But everything else rings true.
Yeah, these are cool packs. I am going to buy them myself.
Yeah, I mean, they honestly are sick as hell. Like we talked about it a little bit yesterday when I first started talking to the founders about this. These things are effectively just like dark monuments to eldritch gods of time gone past. Like they don't do anything except increase how cool you look. But my God,
yeah, how dope you look.
Yeah. They're pretty sick.
Yep.
Well, awesome. CCP Goodfella, thank you so much for those words of wisdom. I often,
Yes.
I think, like many of us, go to you when we require that kind of sage advice. And but you're right. This is we want to be the biggest part of this is we're trying to communicate with our players, trying to communicate with the wider gaming audience, and see what works for people and what doesn't work for people. And this is all part of it. So
yeah. Like 100% transparency and honesty on what we are doing. That is the key to it all, and we wouldn't be here without the community. So that's also why we want to talk very openly about it, and we want to deliver cool stuff that people enjoy.
Hell yeah, I love to hear it.
1, 2, and 3.
Well, thank you so much, CCP Goodfella. You're off the hook now. You can leave if you want to and continue.
Okay, I can stay for 20 minutes, and then I need to then do the calls.
Okay,
so let's jam a bit more.
You'll get through about the first fifth of this presentation.
Nice.
But
I mean, if we go at the same rate we've been going, we've done 0 slides in 11 minutes, so we're going to be here for at least 15 hours.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, let's go ahead and skip on over to the presentation. Okay, this is what is Eve Frontier actually? Now I put this together, and I'm going to do a lot of yapping on this stream. If you don't want to hear my yapping, I'm sorry. I only have the one voice. This is the one I came with. CCP Goodfella, CCP Overload, please step in anytime if you feel like you have comments. Just start talking. I have to look over here to see you, so bear with me. So the question, like I said, friends, is what is Eve Frontier actually? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Where did we come from? Whatever. Okay, so most important thing before we go any further, big disclaimer. Okay, we are in alpha development. You guys are going to see a lot of different stuff in this presentation, including concept art and vision board material. Everything you see on this stream, everything you see is considered work in progress and is not representative of final product. That being said, I hope and trust and pray that you're all adult enough to understand exactly how this sort of like development thing works and like how making a video game works. And the stuff we're going to show you is really cool. So strap in, be patient, be understanding, and let's just full send it. So
sorry, this is very cool, and it is from the dev team and where they are heading with the game. So this is not just some JPEGs that I have chosen or done. This is from CCP Maximum Cats. This is from the creative team. It's from the game design team. This is from the team itself. So we're not there yet, but this is 1,000% where we're going.
Yeah, this is vision. This is looking ahead to the future. What the future of Frontier might look like. What we're hoping it looks like in some small measure. So first off, this is the Frontier. Speaking very literally. This is the map of the current iteration of our galaxy. This is our universe. 24,000 star systems, I think. 24,000?
22,000 and some change.
22,000
right and 3 black holes.
And 3 black holes. Noted in white here, which is, I'm kind of curious if you think about it, because of the density of the stars around them. Every dot you see on the screen is a star. There are a lot of them. It's a huge universe. People are going to say, "Oh, well, why would it be so empty?" Oh, yeah, it's very empty. There are lore implications for why it is so empty. And hey, it's your job to make it not that way. Why are we doing this? This is the big question. Like, why did CCP decide that we're going to do this thing instead of another thing, or do this thing instead of anything else? So, first of all, Eve Universe is huge. I mean, if you're familiar with the Eve Online brand of storytelling products, there are so many different universes or different stories and characters and different things. These different things that you can tell and play in and interact with over the last 20 some years of CCP's existence and Eve Online's life. There are a lot of room in there for more cool stuff. There are also a lot of people who have played Eve in the past and really, have either fallen out of the cycle of playing Eve or who just never quite got caught into it, and they want something of a fresh start in a new setting with new conditions, and that is that is where we are starting from base level for Frontier. The Carbon engine, which we're going to talk about more in a little bit, that EVE Online is built off, is also the engine that we're using to build Frontier. It is a unique and exciting creative challenge to build a game that is like EVE Frontier, but is also its own thing. It is different. It should feel different, and that is a cool thing to do. Also, we have new technologies that are available now that will allow us to unlock third-party development in a way that was not possible in 2003. We can do a lot of really cool things. We'll talk more about those later too. That people can get their hands into, and our builders and programmers have been able to get their hands into over the last several months, and that just was not possible back then. Also, making games is fun. It seems pretty straightforward. It seems like I don't know about you guys. You guys have fun making games?
Yeah, good fun.
It is so much fun.
And they're so enthusiastic about it. I absolutely believe you.
And also, EVE Online is so cool.
Yeah.
It is phenomenally cool. And there's so many things that CCP, myself, and the entire CCP has learned from making EVE for so long. And now this is an opportunity to take learnings that you don't want to do to EVE Online because of how beautiful it is right now, and experiment with things that we want to do with the Carbon engine, with third-party development, with connection to the economy, with bringing more darkness into the world, because the darker the world is, the more light players bring into the world itself.
Yeah.
That is what is so fun about it all.
Hell yeah.
The way I like to contrast them is so EVE Online at its core is a game about excess and grandeur, and it's a space opera to end all space operas. It's the Pavarotti of space opera, is what EVE Online is. It's a beautiful, lively world with however many capsuleers living in a world with trillions of NPCs and this vibrant universe full of things. And Frontier is taking that and just flipping it, and it's dark, desolate, survival, desiccated wasteland in space where the universe is not only out to harm you, it's out to kick you in the nuts, steal your milk money, and then piss on your burning ashes.
Yeah.
It's harsh, it's brutal, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, you have to really harden the fuck up to live in the Frontier. Yeah. I think I think we all agree with that. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we lead right into this next point, which is, what is this game supposed to be? First of all, glad you asked. Thank you for being a participant in this. EVE Frontier, rather, is a massively moddable multiplayer online spaceship survival horror role-playing game. It is a okay. Just to break down what that means in practical terms, massively, this used to mean something different back in the early 2000s when MMOs first started kicking off, because the number of people you could actually fit in a game at one point was much, much smaller than it is today. But in this case, massively, universe big. It's big universe is going to get bigger, so it's massive. Moddable. Our blockchain tech allows users to program and modify structures in-game to change their characteristics and behaviors. We'll talk more about that later as well. Multiplayer, of course, more than one person can play the game, which is great. Online, you do need an internet connection. That part is still true. Spaceship, pretty self-explanatory. Survival. So you are in Frontier, a fragile little thing in a huge, unforgiving universe that would not blink if you were atomized, and your options are to survive or die. Horror. I have written here, bro, have you looked at pictures of space? It is spooky as hell out there, man. There's all kinds of crazy shit crawling around the Frontier. Stuff that is human, but also maybe machine. Stuff that is machine, but thinks it's human. Stuff that wants to eat your stuff. It's wild. And then, of course, role-playing. Your character, both what it is physically and who you believe it is spiritually and emotionally, is a core element of the world building of Frontier. What is it to be human exactly? Like, does it require you to be flesh and blood? Do you need a soul? Does it even matter? Role-playing. And then, of course, game. It is a game. So, good start.
Someone in Twitch chat asked, "Are there space spiders?" And legitimately, yes.
Yes, unironically, yeah.
I'm not going to go into any more detail, but yes, there are.
Just shout out to www.efrontier.com. Check out the Keep, the stories there. They are wild.
Yeah, we got some good. Shout out to narrative and creative teams. Love you guys. They're doing some nuts stuff.
I'm just a fan.
Hell yeah.
Myself.
So let's move ahead. Why a survival game specifically? So survival is kind of the natural state of humans in space, if you think about it. We're not exactly intended to be space guys. We're way too fleshy and squishy and susceptible to radiation poisoning and or not breathing. EVE Online, by comparison, is a dramatic space opera with all about great empires at war with each other, noble acts of sacrifice and courage, dastardly acts of betrayal and subterfuge. And EVE Online is kind of like knights jousting at a tourney. By comparison, Frontier is the melee. It's two dudes wrestling in the mud, fighting for their lives against a world that barely considers them human in the first place and has no regard for whether they live or die. Any victories won will be because somebody bled for it. That is the distinction. The high drama of EVE Online fits its setting and the gameplay that you get in EVE Online. Frontier is intended to be a darker, more malevolent experience, to touch on what CCP Overload said a moment ago. The tall spires and shining cities of the world of New Eden are very far away from here. On the Frontier, you either survive or you are consumed. To use a comparison made by this guy, this is Hilmar. He runs CCP. He has a big sword. Hilmar, pictured here brandishing a weapon, likes to talk about EVE Online and EVE Frontier like they are cities. Okay, EVE Online is Rome. Okay, it is old. It has storied history. It's majestic architecture and is the product of some of the brightest minds in gaming coming together over a long time. That being the last 20 years or so. Frontier, in his comparison, is New York. But think like early turn of the century New York, like Gangs of New York, New York. It's new, it's dirty, it moves fast, and if you can't keep up with it, if you can't keep up with the machine, you'll get caught in the gears and mulched. If you can, though, keep up with the machine, there are untold glories to be won and riches to be earned. I like this comparison a lot. He has a really cool slide deck about it. It's great. However, I would make an amendment to that, personally. EVE Online is like Europe, okay? It's old, it has these majestic cities and blah, 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 blah. It has a long history of wars and conquests, of diplomatic achievements, and hard-won peace that got to this point. EVE is, structure, or Europe is structured and is, has foundations in place that have been there for a long, long time. And those foundations are hard-fought and hard-won over. By comparison, EVE Frontier is Australia. Questions you may ask in Frontier. Why is my flesh body so weak and flimsy? Fuck you. Why are these black holes trying to devour the actual space around me? Fuck you. Oh my god, what is that feral thing coming at me and why is it screaming in my father's voice? Fuck you. It's not just other players who want to kill you, though they almost certainly absolutely do. Everything wants to kill you in EVE Frontier. And I've provided this helpful graphic here on the side to kind of show you what you're looking at here. So, moving right along, the Frontier. Frontier is, in very broad strokes, an unknowing village built on top of a mass grave. Okay, the people and civilizations who lived here once died so long ago that any living creature who might remember them has long since been ground to dust by the passage of time. You are set out in an uncaring, unforgiving galaxy and tasked to simply survive. Everywhere you go, you walk on the corpses of those who came before you. You are given meager tools to start, but by using those tools and your own keen wit, you might turn them into a fleet for your trading empire, or an arcade for the giga-wealthy, or turn them into truly horrific weapons of war. Now, the blockchain, because this is the big B word, right? People have a lot of questions. Why are you using this blockchain? What's the point of this? Is this just another one of those scams? There's a practical purpose for this. I mean, we have an intent here. Believe it or not, it's up to you. Again, I'm not your dad. But Frontier utilizes an Ethereum L2 blockchain to fully unlock third-party development, allowing players and builders to the freedom to program, modify, and update in real time the characteristics and behaviors of systems and structures within the game. What that means is, you want to put a toll on your Stargate network? Easy. If you want to make that toll go up for people who aren't friendly with your tribe, that is child's play. You want to unlock the gate, or you want to lock the gates and start blasting whenever the one dude in particular shows up? Hell yeah, brother. You absolutely can do that. Even if you want to channel your inner Icelander and peg those tolls to the real-world price of herring, you can absolutely do that too. That'd be a fun thing for you to do. All these things are possible.
Here's something
Yeah.
I want to add to this one because it came out very recently. I was chatting with some players, and the TLDR is one individual lost a couple of ships to another group, and he wasn't very happy about this. So in protest, he, for the next hour, continuously suicided his own ships into their guns for reasons known only to himself.
Sure,
and he seemed to be proud of the fact that he was doing this and costing them ammunition. They were, of course, happy to sit there and do this and collect his corpses. Then someone happened on the idea that, hey, wait a minute, with the smart gates, which obviously you can control the logic yourself, now we have these corpses, and with smart storage units, anything you put into them can be put on and off chain, and you can use this to basically write logic that affects these two things together. They were able to essentially devise a system where the toll for their gates is a corpse for this individual. So now, if this is implemented, this individual becomes a currency. So people might have to hunt him down, because if you want to pass through one of the biggest gate networks of the frontier, you have to go find this one individual, kill him, get his corpse, feed it into the machine, and then you can transit. So this individual is undocking, looking around, coming out of the house, looking over his shoulder, and there's all these hunters, all the bounty hunters coming for him, trying to get their
not
toll.
Realizing that his own flesh and blood has been turned into currency.
Yes, which I thought was exceptional.
I love it. I love
it. Quickly here,
please.
Have we announced the hackathon?
We have not. Yes, we have actually. We did just before. We haven't announced it publicly, but we did announce it in the Discord. You can announce it now if you want to. I mean, you're the boss.
Yeah. Let's do it. Blockchain just allows people to create really cool stuff in the game. Something that we can't really touch or do anything with. It's just what the players themselves come up with. We've seen that now numerous times through hackathons. We run both online and in-person hackathons. And as is tradition, we are now going to run another hackathon just before FanFest. So for people coming to Iceland during FanFest, you can join us in the hackathon just to jam on some really cool new things that we're working on. We're basically providing the builders with even more information about the world and the players and their own players. And we're also working on a new feature called Provable Object Data. That basically allows me to mostly to cryptographically prove that I have done something, which opens up a lot of cool potential for players to create cool things on. And also for those not willing to jam in a hackathon, you can also just drop by on the first day of FanFest to see presentations from people, what they have come up with. So far, we've been mind blown every time in what people come up with. So I think expect minds to be blown.
I hope so. Somebody asked in chat, is the hackathon offline only? No, the hackathon is not offline only. You will be able to remote into it. We have links up on our Discord. We'll have more links going out probably beginning of next week as well if you want to sign up for that. Should be pretty cool. You don't need to be a programmer to do it. I think CCP Overload can attest to this.
It's a good... Yeah. He's okay. He's not elite like myself.
Well, what I mean is, during one of the original, what was it? One of the original hackathons we did. There was one dude who showed up and had no programming experience whatsoever, and was still able to get the thing to do a thing.
And the brilliant hackers also need cool ideas. People that know Frontier or have any cool ideas are valuable. People who do good design are valuable. People who are just want to have a good time
Hell yeah.
are important as well.
Yeah.
It's like a Goodfella guarantee. I guarantee a good time to those who will
Goodfella
join.
good time guarantee. The
Good fella,
GGG.
Yes.
good time guarantee.
Yes.
Fuck me.
Yes,
All
yes.
right, we're moving right along.
Get
We're
that.
on
Here.
slide 10 of 80, so we have to pick this thing up.
Jesus.
So, oh yeah. Also, you can build your own markets, mint your own currencies, design and implement your own governments, whatever you want. Literally, the only barrier is your imagination. And
that's an important part. The only barrier literally is your imagination, because this is one of the cruxes of a decentralized system. You can do what you want because even we can't stop you.
Yes.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Like, it is in your hands. It is up to you. You do whatever you wish, and you'll let the cards lay. You don't have to follow our rules. You just make your own, and if people don't like your rules, they don't have to play with you. As simple as that.
If you want to build your own market and then crash that market and watch people suffer because of it, that's your prerogative, baby.
And one final, sorry,
Sure,
CP,
go ahead.
is on the blockchain is I have not seen a single person who has been following us and willing to open their mind a bit to this B word that has not at least come out of it, said like, okay, they're doing some interesting stuff on there. So for those that are just curious about it and are willing to hear past this word, just join our Discord and see what people are coming up with, what we are doing and everything.
With dropping the restrictions in the NDA, you can join the Discord. People can chat to you. You can, we have run a free 10-day period just last month. We have no plans of when we'll run our next one, but we probably will at some point run another one, so you can play for free, see if you like it. That's it. We encourage you to check it out. There's no harm in checking things out.
Yeah, that's effectively what this entire presentation is, and what this stream is, really, if you think about it. Us saying, hey, just check it out. Okay, we're skipping right ahead. The vision of Eve Frontier. Okay, this is kind of going to lead into a lot of other stuff, but we want to start with this. Okay, Frontier is, in my own thinking, at its core, a series of decisions. You have the decision to dare to repeat the actions of the civilizations who have come and gone in eons past, thinking that you can correct their errors and achieve the utopias that they desire to be. Do you set out on your own course and strive to distance yourself as much as you can from your corpse fathers? Do you hope to learn as much as you can from history to try and build a longer lasting, wiser society? Or do you take the CCP Overload route, say that sign can't stop me because I can't read, and then full send into the abyss with nothing but your wits, or rather nothing but your guns, wits, and sex appeal? Whichever decision you make, regardless of what it is, both it and its consequences are solely yours. You have total ownership of the things that happen to you and the things that you gain as a result of the things that happen to you. Whether they are wealth, whether it's power, whether it's death, or whether it's despair. It is all yours. Wholly yours. It's not ours. It's not mine. It's not CCP Overloads. It's not CCP Goodfellas. It's not even Hilmar's. It is yours. That's the vision. So, okay, take a step back. So this is you guys talking. I've inserted you here. This is your voice coming out at me, and you say, "Okay, so that's all well and good, but I've seen a lot of videos on my YouTube shorts, and it kind of just looks like Eve. So what's the big deal?" Okay.
That's CCP Jötunn's actual voice, by the way. He puts on this normal one. Yeah, in the office, he talks like that. Just to be clear.
Horrifying. That turned around on me so fast. Okay, so let's talk about where we're going and how we're going to get there. So gameplay. Frontier, like EVE Online, is built on the Carbon engine. Carbon is great for building single shard space games. Shocking. You might even say it was specifically designed to do that. What an idea. Frontier should feel familiar if you've played EVE Online, but the long-term goal is for it to feel distinct and unique, not just in terms of its aesthetic and creative vision, but in how the game feels to play. We use the phrase dynamic gameplay a lot to describe Frontier. What that means is the amount of information you have at your fingertips is limited always to what you can see or what you can gather using the tools you have prepared ahead of time. Your relationship rather with your vessel and the clone inside of it should feel intimate, right? You will have a lot more control over customizing and optimizing both of them to better survive on the dangerous frontier. The goal of Frontier is to cultivate an atmosphere of, I'm calling it sublime unknowing, right? You're given nothing, and you'll have to scrape and claw to gain any informational advantage. But information is power, and if you can get that advantage, you will have power. Looking ahead to what the gameplay of Frontier might look like, this is doctored footage. Obviously, this is just stuff we put in concept art effectively for us. But this is what we are aiming for when it comes to how the game should feel to play.
Those playing right now will see the skeleton of some of this.
Oh yeah,
like those who are playing in the Frontier right now, the UI it doesn't look exactly like this, but anyone who's played right now who saw the screenshot will go, "That's eFrontier."
Yeah,
like it is very, very similar.
It is supposed to feel pulled in. It's supposed to be claustrophobic at times. It is supposed to be a more immersive experience. You don't have the ability to pull out and see the entire area like you were looking down on it from God. You are in the moment. You're in the zone. It is a captivating.
The crux of that one is information asymmetry.
Yeah.
So the stuff around you, you don't just get a nice neat list of everything that's just perfectly visible all the time. If you are in a space environment and there's big, huge debris blocks around you, and there's another spaceship behind that block, you have no idea it's there, and they have no idea you're there. You could both be mining peacefully and then wander out from behind it, and suddenly you have the Spider-Man pointing meme at each other.
Yep.
Like that happens. You can put your ambushers behind a rock and then put your lone mining ship out as bait, like an anglerfish. You can do that.
Yeah.
And the people coming in to try and counter this, they're going to have to use the fact that they don't have perfect information. So other ways to get information via human resources, signal intelligence, all sorts of stuff like that. Information asymmetry. That's kind of the big deal.
Yep. Aki in chat, shout out to Aki, big homie, pointed this out, which is great. We have killed the overview. If you're familiar with EVE Online, the overview is dead. That big list of Excel spreadsheet-esque material on the side of the screen no longer exists. We are now in the age of the overlay, which is what you're seeing in very broad strokes here. Again, this is all concept art. Take it with a grain of salt, but this is the direction we are heading for Frontier. Moving right along, Crude Matter. So we're going to talk very briefly about Crude Matter. Crude Matter is the crux of the survival part of the survival horror experience. Like in survival games where you need to eat to survive, in Frontier you need fuel. Fuel is an element that is derived, I need to be careful, otherwise Maximum Cats will bat me. Crude Matter is a product that is derived from, or rather fuel is a product that is derived from crude matter. Crude matter is a mysterious substance that seeps out of these crude rifts, and you use it to make fuel. Fuel makes your ship go, lets you jump. Every ship in Frontier has its own jump drive, so you can use that fuel to jump. You can use it to run your modules, and people.
Worth noting, one of the reasons it has, every ship has its own ability to jump, is that 22,000 star systems, only maybe 500 to 1,000 are actually connected by gates. The rest of them are just out by themselves. If you want to get there, you can either jump there with your drive using fuel to get there, and maybe you jump in with a big hauler and deploy a gate and start building a gate network for your homies to come in. And then, of course, you can maintain that, charge it, do what you want.
Yep. It is a cool system. There have already been players who have dedicated their entire playstyle to going out and finding crude rifts. They are kind of like I think we talk
rift
about
hunters.
Yeah, rift hunters. We talk about watering holes a lot. You see, like in the savannah, you'll have watering holes. Animals will come from all over, and they'll all just chill out while they're at the watering hole. It's not that chill in Frontier, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's much more just there's a lot of violence that happens at the watering hole.
Yeah, it's like a watering hole if there was claymores set up around it with snipers in the bushes.
Yeah, it's like a watering hole if all the zebras had
like Mad Max.
Yeah.
It's Mad Max.
Exactly. There you go.
So I wish to use one of my wax lyrical cards, and I'm going to wax lyrical about Crude Matter. I'm playing the card.
Do it.
Because this is one of the things I'm quite excited about. We already have Crude Matter distributed from Rifts, and it's in the game, and you make fuel products with it. However, the vision and the goal is that Crude Matter is going to be a dynamically distributed resource system that is affected by the actions of the players and the things that happen inside the universe of the game itself. What does this mean, CCP Overload? This is lots of words. Well, think of it like the weather in the current world. So we can take tons of measurements of what the weather systems are like in various parts of the globe, pressure, rain, snow, blah, 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 blah. And then we can put all this information into a model and we can say, okay, tomorrow in this area is going to rain. We might be right, we might not be right.
Mm-hmm.
But if we then suddenly built like a gigantic mountain in that area, we're going to disrupt the weather patterns of that area. Like the clouds are going to get split, the winds are going to get diverted. You know, if you suddenly like dammed up and drained the Mediterranean, you would massively affect the weather patterns of most of Europe, for example.
Sure.
The same will be true for crude matter, and the real core of the system is that this model will be built in such a way that it will essentially become a black box. That is, the logic of it will be enshrined in part of the immutable blockchain such that anyone can put the data in and see that the result that is happening in the game is accurate, but it does not mean you can predict the future. It's a black box. So you know that we're not tampering with it. You can see that if people make changes to the inputs, the outputs change, but it's very hard to determine exactly what is happening. So this means that the universe will be dynamic. It'll feel like it's affecting it. If you're like, mining a mountain quietly, the weather stays very, very still. If you just delete the mountain, the weather's going to change catastrophically. And I think this is cool. It also means rift hunters, the people who can figure this out. I like to think of it like the tornado hunters. In America, they all run around in their like fancy vehicles trying to get the footage to sell to the weather channels. So they have the meteorological data. They're all looking at the same data, and some of them they see like two cells coming in, and they go, which one do I commit to?
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of they use the science, a little bit of like gumption, a little bit of finger up in the air, and a glint in their eye, and off they go down the road to try and get to the one that they think is going to be the right one. And maybe they strike gold and get the nice video.
Hell yeah.
Wax lyrical done. You may continue.
That's good. Hey, I was there for the whole thing. I appreciate it. Hey, and also, chat, since you've noticed, this stream is sponsored by Coca-Cola. Also, just joke. Thank you, Legal.
CCP Legal does not like CCP Jötunn.
No, I've got some emails I need to open.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at some core features. So these are things that are unique to Frontier, some things that we've been working on, some things that you might think are cool. There's just a list. I'm not going to go through, we are going to go through everything on this list. But starting at the top, base building, obviously. It's not enough to hide away from the rain in one of the last few structures left standing from the old world. If you want to achieve true greatness on the Frontier, you have to go out there and actually build your empire piece by piece. We're going to talk a lot more about that one here in just a moment. The base building is a huge deal. It's a survival game. Base building is a big deal in survival games, and it is at the core of what we're trying to accomplish here. Feral drones as well. Feral drones, the humans who once lived on the Frontier, died ages ago. All that's left of those civilizations are the machines that they left behind, who continued to carry out their tasks long after their creators had died. Over time, their intelligence systems started to mutate and change and become very strange in a poorly understood process called feralization. The outcome are feral drones. They are creatures with observable intellect that are truly inscrutable to mankind, but no less dangerous. These are the wildlife of the Frontier. There are no people, but there are plenty of feral drones. Occlusion. So we've talked a lot about knowledge being power and knowledge asymmetry. Well, here it is in its most practical form. Occlusion means that positioning is also power. In Frontier, every object in space has physicality. If you shoot at a thing and there's another thing between you and the thing you're shooting, you're going to shoot the thing in front of you first. That's just how it is. If a smaller thing gets in front of you and you're shooting a bigger thing behind it, you have a chance of hitting that smaller thing. Doesn't matter if that thing is a megastructure, an asteroid, or another ship, even a friendly ship. You can shoot things that are in front of you because all weapons have line of sight guidance on their projectiles, every single one of them. Also, we work on a quarter-second tick rate, which is kind of cool, in order to emphasize the more intimate the intimate intended dynamic of Frontier. Frontier runs on a quarter-second tick rate. Piloting your vessel should feel smooth and responsive, and dying should feel the same way. Speaking of somebody who has played a lot of EVE Online in the past, I can tell you for a fact, this is the first thing you will notice if you're familiar with EVE, and if you have played EVE in the past and come to Frontier. It is very strange and takes a little bit of getting used to, but I like it quite a bit.
It does have some funny moments, like in one of the earlier playtests we did, a bunch of us were in battleships and we were shooting at a big old enemy, and me and CCP Paragon were both firing our weapons, and then this relatively new player in his small ship happened to fly between CCP Paragon's mighty battleship and the enemy at the exact moment his large caliber weapons fired off a full broadside, and that poor new player just got ass clapped out of existence.
Absolutely cooked. A tale as old as time. Just don't get in the way of the guns. It's very easy.
Are you talking later, CCP Jötunn, about the core features we have in progress right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, to the community also, like, these are some of the core features we have currently.
Yes.
But we are taking it way further in the future.
Oh yeah. No, we're gonna. Yeah. You're gonna see some shit here in a minute. So let's talk about base building for a second. So this is some examples, some concept art, some stuff that's in the game right now. Base building, like I said, is a huge mechanic about or in Frontier. You should be able to live and breathe and die in your own base and not have to rely on the outdated and, in some cases, lacking infrastructure that still exists from the long, long ago. We've seen a lot of players already experimenting with some really cool stuff. These bottom two screenshots are of that players submitted to us. Bottom left shows one of our new gates. These are stargates. You have to build gates in Frontier. The gates don't come pre-built. You have to make them yourself. So we do have these gates. And also in the bottom right, we have one of the newer bases. Somebody in a hauling ship surrounded by printers that they can use to make cool shit. We're going to go through a very quick, well, it's not very quick. It is a long presentation, but we're going to do it quickly. This is a presentation that CCP Maximum Cats put together just to talk about what, in very broad strokes, the base building experience should feel like for people who are... Oh, yes, here we go. Thank you.
And because just to add hard mode to it, one of the things that really I think we forgot to mention in the core features, and that's my fault, is you saw the screenshots before on how we want the game to look like when it comes to the UI with the overlay. But it's also in how it is to fly the spaceship. You mentioned the tech rate, that's obviously a big improvement, but we also want your skill in piloting the ship to be a fundamental thing. So there's also where we have occlusion, we have orientation, line of sight, and all of these new things in the engine itself. For those, many people have not tried it yet, even if they've played Frontier, but it's focus mode. The ability to more manually control your spaceship as you fly it. For those who have not tried the Frontier, tried out, just press F in space. And for those who have played the Frontier but not tried it, still a prototype, but you can definitely feel immediately by playing it where we are taking it when it comes to skill shots, carefully maneuvering around complex objects, like when it actually becomes a cat and mouse games in these large majestic sites that feral drones have built out over the past 10,000 years. And then you can pair that with when you talk about I will need to leave soon for my travel up north, pair that with the features that we have coming. I'll not spoil it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. F for focus mode.
CCP Goodfella, can you please tell CCP Kalira he must oil his chair?
He's got to oil that chair.
Otherwise, he's not allowed back in the office.
He's outrageous. He's absolutely killing us right now. That's very good. Well, yeah, no, absolutely. So let's go through this. Again, don't think of this as necessarily this is how base building is going to work exactly. This is just an example of how it might work for one specific group, depending on their circumstances. Obviously, it's going to be different for everybody. But this is a super cool presentation, and I want to run through it. So the beginning of this kicks off with some people within a group trying to find a place where they can build their base. Okay, you can come back and watch the VOD of this later if you really want to read this stuff here over on the right. But they talk about locations, star systems that might be better than others, depending on what might be closer to good resources, what might be closer to good trading connections, or maybe trying to hide their stuff if they want to, try to be a little bit more discreet. All of these are options. They pick a system, and the system has, of course, planets, asteroid belts, and, of course, the celestial in the middle of it, plenty of moons. they say, oh, also there are drones and rare minerals here as well. We need to be aware of those things because those are resources that we can use later to build out our base. So they have obviously there's a 2 gates in this system, in this example system. Most people who are moving between the 2 gates will only ever see the things that are between the 2 gates. They won't have any kind of vision outside of that range. So we're going to put our base at this far planet, so it is a little bit more hidden, a little bit more discreet, off the beaten path, if you will. At the L5 point, if you know anything about L5 points, that's where they're putting them here. The old Lagrange. And they start building stuff. They start out with a medium-sized ore reprocessor, because you got to be able to reprocess ore. They put down some storage containers. They have this one, just a small storage container next to it, so they can put that reprocessed ore in the storage container. Then they have to put up a network node. The network node allows them to connect things together. Think of it like the, what do they call it, the daisy chain of wires behind your computer, which is what the network node is in this case. That network node attracts feral drones, and the feral drones come over and want to attack the stuff because feral drones, fun fact, are attracted by things that use fuel. Who knows why they do that? I mean, I know why they do that, but you don't know why they do that. So they put down another storage unit and they build a turret. The turret is there to keep the feral drones away. You can kind of see what is effectively a very, very brief drawing of what that might look like, that interface for that turret. They put down some more printers. Printers are things that you use to manufacture things in Frontier. They basically print stuff out of materials. They put down another network node. They put down some more storage units, and they attract more ferals. And you can see ferals on either side of this as well, both at the planet and over at that asteroid belt. They find some shipping containers. Shipping containers, these are just things that you can find in the Frontier. These are objects that float through space, derelict objects from time gone by. There may be valuable cargo inside those shipping containers that they can then use to further build out their base, which they do. But they put down more storage units, more printers, more turrets. And then they find an ancient fuel repository. They can go hack that fuel repository and get some more fuel out of it. They take a fleet over there to do that. And now they have to put up some hangars because they can't just leave their ships floating in space. So they put up hangars. They put their ships in the hangars for safety. All of this continues as they continue to build out and out and out. Attracts more feral drones because the ferals are like, oh my god, there's a snack over here. I want that snack. So what do? They anchor a drone depot. What is a drone depot? Well, feral drones are just machines, really. Intelligent machines, certainly, but perhaps those drones can be caught and reprogrammed and put to work. So now those drones can do the business of carrying your materials back and forth between your printers and your reprocessors and your storage units, maybe carry new ships over to your hangars. They anchor new printers, new hangars as well. They upgrade their reprocessor to a bigger reprocessor, put down more stabilizers, put down more network nodes, the whole bit and boot. They go to a drone nest. They attract some more drones, bring some more drones over. They have to put up some physical shields. We already have something that is like physical shields in the game currently with our caltrops, the big hedgehogs. These are things that just provide occlusion for your base. All of these things are important to keep your base safe, and they continue to build and build and build. They put up a missile battery. They put up a bigger network node. They get raided by drones, and they continue and continue to build out and out and out and out, and then they go for a big heist. They see an old mining platform on a Crude rift some ways away, and they go for it. So you can see where we started from and where we came to. Obviously, a huge difference. There are going to be a lot of different new systems implemented into Frontier, a lot of different, not just manufacturing systems, but defensive systems, cultural systems, not just the monuments that we were talking about that are coming in for the first time in PAX, but also signs and banners and holograms and all kinds of cool shit that you can use to deck your space out. You can put repair systems in there. You can put respawn systems in there. You put clone vats in there where you can start to build and harvest and farm your own clones. A variety of really cool things. And you can see already what they're starting to work on in terms of what these smart assemblies might look like. Obviously, there are always bigger and smaller sizes for all of these, so you can find one that fits your fancy, as it were. Again, reprocessors, network stuff, warehouses, big storage facilities. There's a really cool video I did not have that someday I'll get out in public It's a render of a thing, and it's probably outscoped at this point, but it showed a kind of a pan over what a city in Frontier might look like once it's all been decked out. And my God, it was a life-changing event seeing it all put together like that. It was very,
Still
very
valid.
cool. Huh?
Still valid.
Is it still valid?
Yeah,
we can find it. Maybe we can put it in another stream some other time. We can go into more detail on this.
It's a great video.
Yeah. I need to head up north.
Hell yeah.
I do apologize. This has been a super good
problem. Thank you for joining us, CCP Goodfella. Please make sure to mute your mic before you leave, so I don't have to hear that share again. And tell CCP Clear we said hi.
Yes, will do.
Very good.
Thank you. Have a good weekend, everybody.
You too.
See you later.
We'll just there we go. All right, here he is. Love that. So yeah, that is a very, very brief breakdown of what we're calling them smart assemblies. These are all, and again, these systems, many of these systems are not just flat out of the box, you get what you get systems. These systems have behaviors and characteristics that can be customized, can be built up through the use of, like I said, back in blockchain tech. You have the power to go in and change how they function, change how they interact with each other. Those are all things that will be available to you because we've unlocked third-party development for these systems. That's why they are smart. Smart turrets and smart gates and smart storage units are just the tip of the iceberg. Now, a lot of you are probably going to be asking, because everybody asks us, wait a second, but all these systems, the programming and the bada bing and the bada, I don't know anything about programming. How am I going to survive on the frontier? Well, the answer is you don't need to. There are plenty of systems that work just fine. You don't need any kind of understanding of how to program things together. But just like in EVE Online, once groups get to a certain size and need extended infrastructure, a lot of times they will start to naturally bring in people who understand how to program things, understand how to speak the language that computers speak. I'm not one of those people, but I know a lot of those people, and it is good to have those people on your staff. Again, you don't need them, but it is nice to have. Going just right ahead, since we've been talking about base building, we've talked about feral drones a lot, so let's talk about feral drones. So feral drones are these are, oh boy, these are the fauna, the fauna of the frontier. They are in very, very broad strokes. I've said that a couple times already. They are in very, very broad strokes. They are machines that were intended to do a thing at one point in the past, and then the people who were running those machines died.
These are the remnants of a long gone ancient civilization that are just continuing ancient machinations. They've been running on their own for generations upon generations, eons upon eons upon eons, and over time code has become corrupted and they've eventually kind of feralized, and they're still running ancient orders.
I mean, and they are, you get new ones with some frequency.
So go to the next slide.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, speaking of which, let's
talk about this guy.
Yeah.
So this here, if you look in the distance, these are screenshots from the game, by the way. This is a screenshot from the game. This is what we call a feral moon eater. As CCP Jötunn has described, this is a titan of the old world. These are huge, monolithic drones, like bigger than anything that has been fielded in the frontier thus far. They strip entire moons for their resources. Mm-hmm. The civilization that lived in the frontier were so resource rich and vast and powerful. They were building effigies to themselves out of asteroids. Like, they had so much pride in themselves, and it all collapsed, and we don't really know why. And these moon eaters are still just going, and they're like a peaceful whale, just kind of moving around the galaxy, hoovering up resources. And the thing is, though, they have become a little bit feralized, and since we launched Vendor Access, like I said, these are in the game. This is a screenshot. Players, of course, discovered these titanic beasts roaming around. And what's the first thing that a player thinks when they find something? They think, can I kill that? And they attempted to kill it and found their weapons essentially ineffectual against this monstrosity. So the players went and got some more players, and they came back and they tried again, and still the beast ignored them. Just these are flies buzzing around a giant oxen in a field. It just doesn't care. Occasionally, like, swatting its tail around. So the players go back and they think about this, and they're like, well, if we get more, maybe we can try again. So a mighty armada of riders was formed up under the stewardship of Michael JD from the tribe Reapers.
Shout out Michael JD.
And they attempted to take down this great beast of burden. And they were making good progress. After maybe like 40 minutes or so, they managed to get it down into about 30% of its shields remaining. At this point, the ancient creature kind of woke up a little bit from its slumber, and it became enraged. And suddenly, its mining lasers, which were peacefully firing, ramped up nearly 1,000 times and started just eviscerating the riders around them, forcing them to flee in terror.
Blasting.
But not to be deterred, the riders mounted up again and formed another assault a couple of weeks later, determined to, quote, attempt to kill a god.
Mm-hmm.
This was a very memorable moment because the creature, as it was going down, started to reach low shield, sorry. And it was enraged. Its mining lasers firing, tearing apart the hulls of the very ships that were trying to destroy it, when a mysterious fleet under the tribe Calamity warped in and started causing chaos. A great fight happened, and the TLDR of that one is the Moon-Eater managed to survive as the riders under the command of Michael had to warp off.
And
an incredible event.
Just to interrupt very quickly, I want to be very clear about this. This was not something that we did. Like this was a player organization who came together and said, you know what? Actually, fuck the other riders, and hell yeah, now I love the Moon-Eater. Moon-Eater is our god, and we're gonna go protect the Moon-Eater.
Yeah. So now, dear viewers, I come to you with breaking news. I see you in the chat, Michael JD. Breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Last night, in the depths of the night, a small group of elite riders came together under the flag of Rooks and Kings, and they besieged one of these titans of the old world. And on grid with them this is footage from them. This is brought to us by Alpha from Rooks and Kings, who braved this fight while having his UI off to get this incredible footage. This is Rooks and Kings fleet taking on a Moon-Eater, and they have this tribe Manblot, which I'm told means blood sacrifice. Essentially, they had anchored a number of the respawn base units around the Moon-Eater, allowing them to constantly respawn in as sacrifices to the Moon-Eater. So they were just throwing sacrifice after sacrifice before the Moon-Eater's cutting lasers to allow the Rooks and Kings fleet to take down the beast. And they managed to force off the world's first Moon-Eater. It went into armor, warped off, and they recovered a good amount of unique loot and modules. But I'll leave that to them to reveal what happened.
Yeah. Pretty impressive. I mean, quite a feat, obviously. These are, I mentioned in this slide, these things are just the tip of the iceberg. One of the things that we are really emphasizing in Frontier is that the environment itself needs to be dangerous. It is not cultivated. And just to use another comparison, in New Eden is, your middle-class neighbor's lawn. Carefully manicured, a little sketchy in a couple places, obviously, where the dog's been peeing, but otherwise well-trimmed, well-maintained, and, Frontier is the Scottish Highlands, just untamed and out of control and crawling with people who sound like CCP Overload. So we are really just, again, scratching the bare surface of what this is going to look like. I saw some screenshots today of some future giant mobs that we might see in the Frontier, and my goodness, they are sick as hell. Let's talk a little bit more about things that are big, by the way, very quickly. We talked about occlusion earlier, and things that you can occlude. So ignore my snipping tool shot there in the top right one. No big deal there. We have a big emphasis right now on megastructures. Obviously, megastructures make sense. in lore and out of lore. In lore, obviously, the civilizations that came in the long, long ago left behind megastructures. These are huge things that they built in space for a variety of different reasons. The reasons are probably long lost to anybody who still exists now. But conveniently, these megastructures provide a really cool environment for people to fly around in and utilize the new occlusion tech. We had a very small skirmish at the end of end of cycle 1 rather, where a bunch of riders got together, went to a site and started blasting at each other, using the dynamic environment around them to hide from incoming fire, or use the thing as a shield, or sneak around behind another person and again start blasting. And it was very, very cool. You can see a couple of examples of stuff that we've already put together, some things that we are continuing to put together. And yeah, I mean, geometry is important. We are going to have CCP Bruder.
Wunder. It's his fault. He picked a name, a CCP name that's in Welsh. That's up to him.
It means nothing to me. It's basically, it might as well be French. CCP Embroidery is going to be on next week to talk about site design and how these things are coming together. It's super cool. I hope you check it out. I won't be here because I'm going to be at GDC with CCP Overload and some other members of our team. So you will get CCP Swift. The artist formerly known as Elise Randolph will be here with CCP Brauer to talk about sites and how that is going to come together. Super cool. Check it out. And also the other thing about sites that is very cool, they're just big. Big things in space are super cool. I like it a lot. Big is good. I'm a fan. Let's talk about ship mechanics for a little bit. So here's some stuff people have asked a lot about, like, well, what's the fitting system going to look like in Frontier? This again is a very, 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 very basic prototype of what that might look like. Just some ideas in here about how things work. Obviously, there's a lot of modularity in Frontier. Your ship, in many cases, might change the way it looks based on how you have it fitted out or how you have it kitted. Your ship might act differently. This is not unusual. A lot of this stuff is just cranked to 11, to put it in to terms you may understand. We just have really tried to turn things up as high as possible. Give people...
Jötunn.
Yes?
I'm aware of the time. I think we should do a separate stream on like some of the more mechanical things. We've talked quite a bit about like concepts and mechanics.
Sure.
Why don't we skip ahead to the visual fidelity and look at some of the screenshots and like and things like that?
Yeah, we can absolutely do
I
that.
think that'd be a good thing to look at. And then, because we are running out of time, we did waffle along.
We did waffle a long time. Yeah, an hour and 15 minutes, my God. Before we get to visual fidelity, I'm going to do one more slide here. It's this one, and I do it because it has a video. You and I cannot hear this CCP Overload, but this is... I
can hear it in my head, it's okay.
Yeah, this is the some stuff from the Church of CCP Rolls, if you ever get a chance. Oh, I can hear it. Awesome. Sound design in Frontier is nuts. You can... listen to that. Really get inside you. Listen. Oh, just hits just right. Okay.
CCP Rules wakes up every morning, puts on his chef's apron, his chef's hat, heads into his kitchen and just cooks. Awesome.
He absolutely does cook. Okay, so let's talk about visual fidelity. So one of the things that we are really focusing on is the design of ships and how much, what can we actually get out of the engine. What I'm going to show you today, these are rendered in Unreal, but this is the visual target of what we're aiming for. This first is just the Jov. It's a Corvette in the game, and just a little guy. But you can see just from looking at it, there are some places in the design of the ship where, if you zoom in real tight, you can see the pixels. It's just not quite as clean as we would like it to be. Thankfully, the team has been working very hard, and we have much cleaner versions of these ships now. We have new tools and new resources that we can use to really crank up the fidelity for a lot of these things. I have a couple other versions of this as well. You can see, again, straight on. Now, this is untextured, mind you, so take this with a grain of salt as well. But going between that and this new higher res version of that ship is going to really increase not just how the game looks, obviously, but what we can do in terms of artistic design for these vessels. The engines are maybe the biggest part of this. I mean, you zoom in real close on these bad boys, you can see all kinds of little lines and squiggles that probably should not be there. But these new tools have given us a lot more flexibility and a lot more freedom to work on the artistic side of things. And the art team, as you can probably imagine, is cooking with gas. Yeah, let's make it do the part 2 of this maybe in a couple weeks. We have a couple more things we still want to talk about. So I'm not going to say that is Frontier actually, because we have not answered all of those questions yet. But we are getting close. So thank you all so much for tolerating, again, an hour and 20 minutes of us yapping, mostly me yapping. But we seriously do appreciate you guys hanging out with us, listening to what we have to say, checking out our new game. If you want to get involved in the game, you can go to efrontier.com. There's a bunch more information there. If you go to discord.gg/efrontier, you can join our Discord. Just hang out in there, sign the NDA, get into the channels. You can see screenshots. You can harass Michael JD for not killing a Moon Eater yet. It's all kinds of fun stuff. It's a cool place to be. In the meantime, like I said, next week we'll have another stream on Friday with CCP Broder and CCP Swift. We'll be back the week after that with some other cool stuff. And if you're at GDC, say hello to CCP Overload. He's going to be there hanging out, doing, I guess.
You can also, if you come to FanFest, we will have a side room where you will be able to come and get your hands on and play some of this. So you'll be able to chat with us, see some cool presentations about some stuff, see some demos, play some demos, and have a go. So
yeah. I think it's going to be fun. I hope you like it. We'll see what happens. So until next time, friends, I have been, of course, or with me has been CCP Overload. I have been CCP Jötunn. Thank you so much. And until next time, we'll see you out on the Frontier Riders. Take care.